Hey everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the A-1 VA Ratings Show. Today we have U.S. Army combat veteran Isiah Hubbard here to join us. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So Isiah came all the way from Waco, Texas to San Antonio, Military City, USA.
Yes, sir.
We have a special gift that we would like to present you with. It's a 3-time NBA championship Danny Green
stop playing.
jersey.
Stop playing.
It is
you serious?
It's been authenticated, and that's just for you. So,
man,
I appreciate you taking time out your day and coming out and joining us.
Look, y'all about to have me tearing up in here, man. Look, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much,
man. So that's all for you, man. I appreciate you, man.
I'll put this back up.
Yes, please. Thank you, Jen.
Lost words right now.
So here today, I just want to talk to you. You and I met back in July of 2001. How did you hear about myself, and how did you hear about A1 VA Ratings?
You said 2001. Was it 21?
Yes,
2021.
2021. 2021.
No, it's so good. I actually came across you from my NCUIC. I was doing my podcast. He had bought a T-shirt. Long story short, went down there, delivered to him. We were chopping it up, and he was asking me about, my ratings and everything, because I got out a little bit before him, and he was saying how fast this process was going. Now, at the time, I was doing it by myself, and when I told him that, he kind of like gave me this look, like, come on, Hub. And I was like, well, you mean put me on, sir? You mean like you're my mentor, put me on? And that's when he gave me your number, you know what I mean? Reached out maybe like 2-3 days later, and from there it was history, man. Like, I want to say I was at 40% when I first started talking to you. Got that initial bump up to about 70, maybe a couple months later. Now I'm sitting at 90, just waiting for that 10% to come in.
Okay.
And honestly, man, it's been great. You know what I'm saying? Because what I was doing by myself obviously wasn't working. When you came in with your knowledge and what you imparted on me, definitely appreciate it.
Well,
even more than the jersey, man. You know what I mean? And I appreciate the jersey, but I appreciate your help even more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm glad we can help with that for sure. No doubt about that. So, real quick, during your time in the Army, you deployed to Afghanistan.
Yep,
what was that experience like?
The first time was pretty interesting. You know what I mean? I was 20 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I'd never left home until the military. Let me just put it out there like that. So I had no idea what was going on, how to be an adult. I was at Fort Hood for maybe 2-3 months, maybe 4 tops. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when we deployed, July 4th. 2012, July 4th, 2012 is what it was. That's when we deployed, and it was surreal, man. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen movies, you know what I mean, Black Hawk Down, you know what I mean, Hurt Locker, all of those things like that. But I tried not to think like that's what it was going to be like. You know what I mean? I tried to go in with, you know what I mean, a better attitude, a better mindset about things. And once we got boots on ground, that's kind of when it got real, you know what I mean? And it was like, all right, I'm not in America anymore, you know what I mean? I'm not on Fort Hood. Like, you're really in the Army now, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it was like for me. And excuse me. And Bagram was beautiful. That's where we were, surrounded by mountains. It was real crazy how beautiful the scenery was in that type of area. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily go into a combat zone. They can, you know what I mean? I'm gonna see some pretty landscapes. But it really was, got to see the winter there. It snowed there, believe it or not, you know what I mean, which kind of surprised me. It got really real the first time we had a mortar attack, and that's kind of like...
What is that like? It's like are sirens going off?
So, yeah, it was crazy, man. The first time it was like, so incoming. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Everybody's like, all right, well, you mean just stay in place, you know, whistle everything, boom. And then, you know, they tell us go to the bunkers, and we do all that. First couple times it was scary. You know what I mean? Like, I can't put it any other way. It was scary.
No doubt.
But I'll be 100% honest. After about the 4th time, I was like, look, you know what I mean? When that siren goes on, wait, I'm good. All right, back to the mission. But it definitely taught me a lot, not just about myself, but about everybody that was around there with me. That 49th Transportation Unit that I was with, that's like my family to this day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it was a very special bond that we had. Like, we were there for Christmas, Thanksgiving, all those type of holidays, and we made it feel like we were actually able to celebrate. It wasn't like we were in a war zone. So having those type of people around me like that definitely made it a better experience. I would say it was one of the most fun times I've had in the Army. what I'm saying? Despite, you know what I mean, despite the rocket attacks and all the missions I had to go on or whatever, but I had a really good time because I learned a lot about myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what were your roles and responsibilities while you were enlisted in the U.S. Army?
Ooh, so I was comms. So basically, my job was a 25 uniform signal support system specialist, but they call us a jack of all trades, master of none, because they'll put us somewhere and then they'll have us do whatever, whatever they need us to do. So if like I was in a 25 uniform slot, which radios, SYNCARs, OE254s, things like that. You know what I mean, field radios for the people, you know what I mean, who aren't in the military. But I also had to, the day-to-day stuff I would do is like set up network accounts for people so that way they could access, you know what I mean, the different computer systems like that. A lot of inventory stuff, like I was in charge of actually handling an entire almost swap of the old radio systems and the new systems so that way they were mission capable. And that was actually a pretty big mission, you know what I mean? At the time I didn't know like how much money I was actually dealing with and transferring, but that was probably one of my highlight missions on the enlisted side, well, state side, you know what I mean, doing what I was doing.
So those initial radios just reached their life cycle and you guys were just...
Yep, yeah, it was a more convenient kind of layout for in the Humvee. You know how you have the kind of big old square in there and you have the radios in there and all those type of things. It was a more streamlined layout so that way we could add another system. And I can't think of what the system is at this moment. It was a couple of years ago, but it was more of like a touchscreen. So it was newer, a lot more, you know, mission capable for things like that, which, you know what I mean, like that's the number one thing, being mission capable and mission ready. So being a part of things like that definitely, you know what I mean, made me feel important.
Yeah, for sure.
In a way, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, if you can't talk, if you can't communicate, you know what I mean, you can't get the messages across, you can't relay.
Right.
As far as that, you know, when we were deployed, kind of the same things, setting up the talks and everything for the networks, just kind of a lot of help desk stuff when I was deployed when, you know what I mean, I wasn't have to do radio stuff. Glorified IT guy, man. You know what I'm saying? To put it simple.
I know what you mean. I used to do IT for some time.
Okay, perfect,
I contracted down in Kuwait for a year for ASG Kuwait.
Where at in Kuwait?
Actually, I was at Air John, and I worked at Camp Beer, and they actually sent me down to Camp Beer, and they wanted to get rid of me. So, so I went out there.
There's a difference between Beer and Air John too, man. Look, you don't know unless you've been there.
Driving and passing that sign that says Saudi Arabia this way, it's like, keep going straight.
Keep going right. Gotta remember what you're there for.
Nah, for real. Nah, that was a whole different experience for me.
Absolutely.
So, glorified IT guy, are you doing IT now as a civilian? How did your military experience prepare you for your civilian life?
I did for a while. When I first got out, I was contracting, doing different jobs with different companies. I was actually up in DC for a little bit, Arlington, Virginia. I was working up there doing a transfer. It seems like my whole career I'm just transferring stuff. So I was going from Windows 7 to Windows 10. So that's when that happened. But it was actually really cool because I got to do it at all the airports within, you know, in the United States and stuff like that. So I was doing that for a couple of years. I want to say up until about maybe 2020, maybe about when I met you, 2021. When I got out the military, 16, to 21, I was doing that. And then COVID hit. Got COVID, ended up losing the job that I had. And then that's kind of when I started working for myself, doing the entrepreneur thing.
Okay. Okay. So your skills have prepared you to do IT, but you're not doing that anymore. So what industry are you in, and how did your experience in the military prepare you for the new career that you do have as an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. Currently I'm in consulting, and I would call it vehicle concierge. I have a fleet of 4 vehicles that I rent out in Central Texas between Austin, Waco, and Dallas. And then I also do consulting for people who want to get started in that type of business, but may not have the time or resources. So I kind of see where I can help guide them if, you know, I need to co-host things like that. My military career definitely helped that with the leadership aspect. You know what I mean? Being able to, you know, take control, write out a game plan. Was it MDMPE, military decision-making process? I use that all the time, man. You know what I mean? It may not be the same thing, but it's the same type of steps. You know what I mean? Just want to make sure I'm ready for everything. You know what I mean? Looking over the risk analysis and things like that. I'm just trying to make sure that, you know what I mean, I'm doing the best things possible for the people that I'm trying to help. You know what I mean? And leadership, you know what I mean? Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. All of that. You know,
you're gonna have us in here singing the Army song in a minute.
Don't call me out because I can't remember the Army song. You know what I mean? Leadership is one that's stuck
I
with me.
lead, you follow.
Yeah.
Nah, that's what's up, man. So, when you got out the military, I know a lot of people when they get out the military, they're like, man, you know what? First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grow a beard, or I'm gonna get out. Especially my veterans in Colorado, they're like, man, dude, as soon as I get out, I'm gonna go to the dispensary, have me a joint. What was the first thing that you did when you got out of the military?
The first thing I did when I got out the military,
that you could not wait to do?
Grow the beard. You know what I mean? Like when I'm where it's recreational legal, I'm a smoker. I'll say that when it's recreational legal, but the beard, man, I don't know, because like before I got in the Army, I had a nice thing going, you know what I mean, and then zoom. And so like when I came back, you know what I mean, it was like chin strap, started with the chin strap, then grew into what it is today, man.
Nice,
so,
nice. I love that beard too.
Appreciate
I
it.
can't
Thank
grow
you.
one. I tried. I
credit the shaving every day, man, because before like it wouldn't connect or anything, and coconut oil.
Okay,
You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
okay. That's the secret.
But yeah, you know, the beard, it was definitely the beard, and growing out the hair. You know what I mean? Not having to have the bald fade, and you know, I got hair under here. You know what I mean? It just got the turban on, but it definitely grew the beard first.
Nice,
Those were
nice.
the things.
So, what was your? You talked about your deployment.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your most favorite thing that you've ever done while serving in the Army?
Ooh. Man, my most favorite thing, it would have to be any of the training. You know what I mean? Like, as crazy as it sounds, in hindsight, basic training was super fun to me. You know what I mean? Like, being
Just
able
pushing yourself to the limit,
yes,
right?
yeah, like finding out like that I could become a different person. You know what I mean? I didn't look like I look now before I joined the military. I was like maybe like 135 pounds. You know what I mean? Skinny kid, straight out of Lebanon, Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? Like, but the Army showed me that if I put my mind to something, I could transform who I was. I could change my mindset, and I can honestly be all that you can be. You remember that? You remember that?
For sure.
But you know what I mean? It was definitely like that. It was the training. You know what I mean? Because even now I tell my homeboys like, yo, throwing a grenade is different, bro. You know what I mean? Like you see it on COD, you think you just gonna skate that thing. It's got some weight to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
for sure. It's
you
pretty
gotta,
heavy.
yeah, if you drop that thing, that's it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say the training. The most fun I've had at a range was the 240 Bravo. I would say going to those ranges were the most fun to me. You know what I mean? Just being able to let them
That
things
thing is
rip.
heavy.
Yeah, you know, them big guys. So Rambo, you know what I mean? It gives me that feel. You know what I'm saying? I like it. I like it.
So you know what's coming next. What was your least favorite thing to do?
Ooh, it might get dark here. No, my least favorite thing to do was definitely like motor pool Mondays. You know what I mean? So like I was that guy. Oh, motor pool Monday, you know what I mean? I'm checking the radio, I'm doing my vehicle, and then I'm like, look, I gotta get back to the office because we gotta do this, that, and the third, you know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? We didn't really use them.
I've been checking on this same vehicle for the past 4 weeks, every Monday.
And it's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. Like, look, I got pressing matters in the office I need to do. So yeah, motor pool Monday, man. That was like, I would skate off easily. And any of my battles watching this, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would do it as much as I could, man, because I just did not like motor pool Mondays. Cause I'm a car guy, but like you said, man, I just checked this thing last week.
I know.
It hasn't moved.
I know.
You know what I mean? On Friday, we pulled it up to pull it back, so you know, I know it works. You know what I mean? I know it works.
Until you go on a mission and then it dies on you.
Oh man. Look, I'm glad we've never had those type of situations,
Yeah.
but I've known some people who have, and did you PMC? I said, yeah, of course. This book don't say that, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'll say motor pool Mondays was my least favorite things to do in the military. That and having to be a yes man, if I'm being honest. You know what I mean? Being lower enlisted, a lot of times you follow your leadership, and you know what I mean, if it's a lawful order, you do it, but some of the incompetence, you know what I mean? Like having to follow that was, because I'm not that type of person, you know what I mean? Like I like to voice, and if I think something is wrong, I'm gonna say, you know what I mean, what if we tried it this way? You know, some people don't like that, so that as well. So those are probably my two least favorite things about the Army, and that's really it.
Okay. So my next question, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
On November 5th, 2009, U.S. Army psychiatrist Major Hassan opened fire at the Soldier Support Readiness Center. He killed 12 soldiers, 1 civilian, and injured 32. You were there.
I was actually at the next one.
You was at the next one.
Yeah, April 2nd, 2013. I'm sorry. It was like 2013, 14. But yeah, I was when it happened with Specialist Ivan Sanchez, where he had opened fire at a couple different places. It was at the motor pool where he had killed Sergeant Owens. May he rest in peace. Sergeant Ferguson, who was my direct, he was in my battalion, one of my mentor supervisors, a friend. So may he rest in peace, the great Danny Ferg. And there was a third person I can't, and I feel terrible because I can't remember their name right now. But yeah, you know about that situation?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, how do you cope with the stress, and how did you adapt? I mean, how did that affect your transition? And like, how do you deal with it on a day-to-day basis?
But you about to get the real me here.
That's what I want.
You know, it was tough. You know what I mean? It was really tough. Like I was in a place darker than my clothes right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I bottled it up. I bottled everything up. But let me just walk over the situation just so people will understand like what I actually went through. So like I said, it was April 2nd. It was crazy because we were getting ready to deploy. We had just got done doing CIF, getting all our gear and things like that. So we were having the, pre-deployment, check-ins, debriefs, things like that. One of my NCOs was out in school training. The other had to get some other things from CIF. It was towards the end of the day, maybe like 13, 14, probably about 14:30. We were doing a half day. So, XO calls a meeting. They're like, all right, everybody's here. I hit up my NCO. I'm like, hey, look, they're calling a meeting. You're not here. You need me to fill in. Like, what do I need to do? Because I may have been an E4 when I got out, but I did a lot of things higher than my rank. You know what I'm saying? I always tried to be and carry myself higher than what my rank was. Because, the Army ranks on potential. And before this whole situation, I was a super hoo-hoo. So, you know what I mean? I was like one of those guys who really wanted to be a lifer 20 years. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I got you. Like, there's nothing I've briefed before. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is cake. The command team, everybody. I know everybody in there, so it's cool. So we're sitting, having a conversation just like this. I'm in the conference room, and probably get about 10 minutes into the brief, and everybody's going around saying whatever. And we have the conference room door open. So I was sitting this way, table's here, like the door's right there, so I can see out the door, I can see out the hallway, and the only people in between me are Lieutenant Herring at the time, and Miss Gabby, and then Sergeant First Class Ferguson was there at the end of the table. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening, but at the same time, I'm about to get off work, so I'm kind of like, man, what am I finna eat? You know what I mean? Just waiting for my time to come up, and I look out the hallway, and I see Specialist Ivan Lopez, who I've had interactions with before. I actually processed his account, like I said I do before. So we've had a conversation, and we've actually smiled and like shook hands. So I see him, and I give him a little head nod. I'm like, hey man, you know what I mean, and go back to doing whatever I do. He walks into our S1 building, and it couldn't have been any more than maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and then out of nowhere, you ever had somebody drop like a science book, like in your classroom?
Yes.
That loud bang? That's what it sounded like. So like, it dropped, and I was like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Somebody dropped a folder in S1, but then, 2 more times, and at the time, like that's when it kicked in, like those are gunshots. Something's going on, we don't know what, things are happening. Like I said, Lieutenant Herring and Miss Gabby were next to me. I stood up, helped them, and this all happened so fast, at the time, and I didn't realize till I went to therapy and like we talked it over. This all happened so fast, but everything seemed slow motion at the time. I know people say that, but it really, it really felt like I was like, everything was moving in slow motion. So I helped them get under the table, XYZ, da-da-da-da. And then I stand back up, and I see Sergeant Ferguson close the door. And so I'm watching him close the door. I go to take a step forward, because I want to help him brace the door. And that's when, Specialist Lopez tried to push it open. I seen it open, and at that moment I kind of like hesitated, because I thought what I mean? He was gonna push in. I thought, you know what I mean? Like, Sergeant Ferguson would have been behind the door, and then that's me, right? You know what I mean? Then I would have been face to face with him. So I was kind of thinking, you know what I mean? Like, how am I gonna stop him from getting in this room? But Sergeant Ferguson, man, that's the dog right there. You know what I mean? He super strong dude, man. Like, he was on a first deployment. Dude didn't look like it, but he was like, you know what I mean? He could throw on the bench 225, 235, and not even need a spot. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but he pushed the door back closed, you know what I'm saying? And he braced it and he held against it. And that's when I go to take another step to try, you know what I mean, to help him brace it. Specialist Lopez just stepped back and fired through the door, you know what I mean? And I felt a bullet, you know what I mean? Like, I heard the whiz, went right by my ear. Later, when we went back in the room and everything, it like literally like went right by my ear. I want to say let off about 3 rounds. That one went through. The other 2 hit Sergeant Ferguson. And at that, like after the first one, you know what I mean, I got down, got under the conference room table. Conference room table's huge, you know what I mean? You know those big Army, you know what I mean, conference room tables. So I get under the table, and after the second shots, I heard just a grunt, you know what I mean? And Sergeant Ferguson fell. At that point, man, like everybody just grabbed him, tried to pull him to the room, and flipped the table, bro. I literally like lifted that table up and put it against the door. You know what I mean? Like, probably one of my strongest feats of life. You know what I'm saying? Not in the gym, but I lifted up the table and put it against the door because all I heard was somebody yell, "You know what I mean? Get the door! Somebody get the door!" And that was my first thing. Like, look, I just saw this happen. You know what I mean? Like, now we got to barricade that thing. So I did that, put my back against the door, and luckily he left after that, you know what I mean? After he realized he couldn't get in, he had left, but it was holding the door seemed like forever. At that moment, it really seemed like I was holding that door for forever. And we're talking about, there's a room full of like, I want to say it was about 12, 14 of us in the room. And, you know, they were trying to resuscitate Sergeant Ferguson. You know, everybody in that room was changed that day, you know what I mean? Like, those people who like I would go to war for. Anybody in that room, you know what I mean, if they called me at any time, at the drop of a dime, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So they were trying to save Sergeant Ferguson. I'm just bracing that door, just trying to make sure, you know, he doesn't get in, you know what I mean? And it was tough, man, because the next thing you knew was a knock on the door, and instantly, like, you know what I mean, my heart dropped, not knowing who was knocking on the door. But it was the MPs, you know what I mean? And they were like, "Oh, it's the MPs, da da da," and I'm like, I'm not trying to open this door, you know what I'm saying? So, open it slowly. They showed the badge. Of course, you know we had to get down, make sure we didn't have anything. That they escorted us out outside one by one, and image that's very, very vivid even to this day. When we walked outside, maybe about 50 yards away in the parking lot, Specialist Lopez took his own life. You know what I mean? So there's his body there. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of like that was one of those moments for me that was like, is this really life? Did this just happen? You know what I mean? And what made it even more surreal was our staff duty desk was there. So we went out the back door. Staff duty desk was there, and on the TV they were talking about the exact situation and have none of the facts right. You know what I'm saying? And ain't have nothing what was going on. Like, and it's like they locked down the whole post. You know what I mean? All that. You know what I mean? Of course. And then
for sure.
That was the longest day of my life in the military, man. You know what I mean? Like, it sucked. I mean, people were like, I got a soldier's medal. You know what I mean, for what I did and everything like that. And you know, even my therapist is like, you know, you're a hero for what you did. And I'm like, well, anybody would do what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the people they really care about, for the ones to the left and right, anybody would have did what I did. And I still feel that way to, you know what I mean, this day. And real hero, Sergeant Ferguson, man. Because, you know what I mean, without him, I wouldn't even be here doing this right now.
No, for real.
You know what I'm saying? So that changed me, man. You know what I mean? That changed me a lot. Like, not even in a bad way, but also, like I said, because you mean the stress and everything, the PTSD, you know what I mean, the anxiety. I wouldn't even been able to do this before. You know what I mean? Because I'd have been just like so nervous about even coming here and just not knowing what I was doing. I wouldn't have made it here, man. Like, And it was so bad, like I'd have told you maybe 30 minutes before, like, hey man, I'm not gonna make it. Just because like I wanted to, but my anxiety it had such a hold on me, like it had such a grip on me. It was tough, man. And that moment there changed my life for forever. But it also, like I said, outside of the PTSD, it also let me know that, you know what I mean, I gotta live every day as best as I can. You know what I'm saying? Like,
most definitely.
You know what I mean? Opportunities, you know what I mean? Take the opportunity, you know what I mean? Drive out to San Antonio for the show, you know what I'm saying? Like, just get out there, you know what I mean? Start the business, do whatever you gotta do. Like, you just gotta do it, man, because you don't know when something like that may happen to you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You don't know when it's gonna be your moment, you know what I mean, the next second. So you just gotta enjoy every day, and that's why I try to bring a positive energy, you know what I mean, like a motivated mindset. Because that day I realized, like, it's not worth it, man. You know what I mean? Like, holding grudges, being mad at people, just being angry, you know what I mean, for no reason. Like, look, I woke up today, it's a great day. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's ultimately what I pulled out of that situation, but it took me a long time to get to that point.
So, throughout your healing journey, that you like, what were some resources? I know you mentioned therapy earlier. Mm-hmm. What other things did you confide in in order to get you out of the house, in order to get you in order to overcome your social anxiety? What are some things that you did, or techniques some advice that you could give somebody else who's suffering with the same thing?
It's crazy because after that situation, I deployed again. That whole thing happened. I was actually approached by my commander, and you know what I mean, we had a talk, and he was like, listen, I realize what just happened, you know, XYZ. If you don't want to come on this deployment, you know what I mean, that's totally understandable. You know what I mean, and I was like, nah, you know what I mean, like, these are the people that I'm here to support. You know what I mean, like, I'm here to do a job, like, let's get it done. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? I honestly probably shouldn't have done that, because while I was deployed, while I did have everybody that I confided in, and I'm so thankful for those people on the second deployment as well, because there was a couple of people from the first one that were also in there. Like I said, my NCOIC, Sergeant Sanchez, who had, you know what I mean, connected me with you, Mata, you know what I'm saying, my top, you know what I mean, OC Thomas, shout out to all y'all, so many other names, you know what I mean, the guys, you know, I roommate with, you know what I mean, everybody, you know what I'm saying, there's just too many names, you know what I'm saying,
shout out to
everybody in that 49th, you know, if you're on the second and first deployment, I love y'all.
Nah, for real.
Because those were the only people I could confide in at the time, you know what I mean, and I buried it because I was like, that happened, let's drive on, you know what I mean, mission first. And I went out there, and I don't know, man, like, that's when I really noticed that, like, I had changed. Because when you're by yourself, you know what I mean, it gives you time to reflect on yourself. You know what I mean? So being out there, you know, other than being in the office or doing what I'm doing, I was really by myself at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Laying in my bunk, I was by myself, so I had time to think and reflect. And that situation, like, replayed over in my mind, like, over and over and over. Ooh, excuse me. Topo Chico coming back up.
Nah, you're good. But, that's my favorite.
Yeah, I love it. Shout out to Topo Chico. You know what I mean? I buried it. You know what I mean? So I got to realizing that, like, in that situation, I was doing the what if thing. You know what I mean? Oh, what if I did this? What if I did that? You know what I mean? If I did this, maybe Sergeant Ferguson would still be here. You know what I mean? Like, this, that, and this, and I just got overcame with it. And you know what I mean? And, like, eventually it made me angry. It made me angry with myself. I don't know if you, like, survivor's guilt? 100%. You know what I mean? I had survivor's guilt. Like, had me questioning the higher power. You know what I mean? Like, why me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did I go through that situation? Why did it happen like that? Like, why? So I did that for a very long time, and you know what I mean, I'm a very happy person naturally, but I know the small things would tick me off. You know what I mean? Like, we were playing dodgeball one time, and man, my bad, Chief. I love you, Chief. Chief Negron, one of my guys, we were playing dodgeball, you know what I mean, just doing some like, what do they call it? Mandatory fun, you know what I mean? Just doing something like that. And, you know, we were playing and like, I had blocked the ball with the ball, you know what I mean? But Chief had called me out, so I'm like, man, like, I threw the ball at him. Like, and I didn't even think about it at the time. I was like, that was super disrespectful, you know what I mean? Like, that, like, that's my guy, you know what I mean? Like, even though like in a proper rank structure, you know what I mean, like he's my chief. Outside of that, that's my guy. You know what I mean? That was my guy. Like that was somebody who I considered a friend. And for me to like do even something simple like that, you know what I mean? Like that was one of that was like it was small, but it was like one of the key indicators that like, look, something's different. So throughout that deployment, I confided in a lot of people. The Army actually got a little harder for me because it was like trying to, like you said, just trying to stay on course and do what I had to do after that. Definitely wasn't as easy, you know what I mean? Because I was distracted by the situation. But you know, my NCOIC, you know what I mean, he realized like, hey, look, something's going on, you know what I mean? My first sergeant, they like just talking to them, they pulled me aside, talked to me, gave me some days, you know what I'm saying? They were like, look, chill, do what you gotta do, you know what I mean? Just relax, you know what I'm saying? Like hit the gym 2-3 times a day if you need to, go to the DFAC as much, you know what I mean? Just don't show up to work for about 2-3 days, you know what I mean? They gave me that time. And like I said, when you're alone, you reflect. And that's kind of when I was like, all right, like at some point I'm gonna need to like get over this hump. But right now, you know what I mean, we had the resources when we were deployed, but at the same time it was like, I felt like, what am I gonna do here? Like, what am I gonna accomplish? And then I leave and then I gotta start all over again, you know what I mean, with somebody else. So I buried it again, you know what I mean, this time a little healthier, you know what I mean, got in the gym a lot more, things like that, you know what I mean, just started to focus, put my mind on things like that. When I got back stateside, went to see my therapist for the first time. Captain Thomas was the first therapist that I had, and I can't stress this enough, therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like in every camera, like there's nothing wrong with mental health, you know what I'm saying? Because I realized that if you're not all the way right up here, you know what I'm saying, the rest of the body's not gonna follow. Right. It's simple, it's science, you know what I'm saying? Like your brain is the nucleus, your brain is the motherboard if we talk in computers, you know what I mean? Like it's the engine, it's what drives you. That's why I'm such a big, you know what I mean, like mindset person, because if you can change your mindset and you can believe that, okay, that messed up situation happened to me, and yes, I lost somebody that I consider dear to me, but now I'm here and I can live for them, you know what I'm saying, and do things to make a positive impact rather than sulk in my own, you know what I mean, in my own tears. And yeah, so that was it. A lot of the Army programs, things like that, you know, I still see my therapist every not as much as I should be right now, just because like life is busy, but I definitely do make time for it. And you know what I mean, everybody out there, talk to the people you can trust. You know what I'm saying? Talk to your loved ones. You know what I mean? Even if your parents may not understand. You know what I mean? My dad was in the National Guard, and he didn't deploy or do like anything that I did, but he really prepared me for what the Army was going to be like. And you know what I mean? Just talking to him after like that whole situation and everything happened, just him giving me a different insight and a different perspective as an older man, as an older person, was like, all right, you know, I still got a lot of years left. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like this was it was a big part of my life, but it happened in like a small section, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because before I couldn't talk about it. I wouldn't even be able to talk about the situation. I get choked up. I still do kind of like, you know what I mean? Gotta take my breaths and, you know, so I don't get the anxiety, but talk about it. You know what I mean? Because the more you talk about it, the more people understand, you know what I'm saying, like what you're going through. Because if people don't know what you're going through, they can't help you. Right. You know what I mean? Like, people may be trying to help you, you know what I mean, because they can kind of see what's going on. But if they don't really know, they could be leading you in the wrong direction. And that's the last thing you want to do when you're dealing with that type of, you know what I'm saying, mental care.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely, you know what I mean, talk to people. Get it out there, you know what I mean, and try to help the next person. Like you're doing, you know what I'm saying?
Nah,
like you're
for
doing,
sure,
you know,
for sure. Man, I definitely appreciate you sharing that story with us, man. I mean, I know that's really near and dear to your heart. R.I.P. to Sergeant Ferguson. Absolutely, and everyone that was lost that day. I mean, I can't say the right words.
Yes.
It's not gonna add up, but thank you for sharing that with us today. Real quick, before I let you go, to the service members who are currently serving our country. So we have about 200,000 service members that get out every year. Okay.
Okay.
What advice would you give to them as they're dealing with their transition, as they're dealing with transitioning back into the civilian world? What advice could you give them to prepare them for their future?
Don't wait till you're out. Do not wait till you're out. That's what I did. Do not wait until you're out. You know what I'm saying? If there's programs, there are programs and things that you can do while you're still in, you know what I mean, getting ready to transition out. Take advantage of all those programs. You know what I'm saying? If it hurts, go to sick call. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not just saying that, just really, if it hurts, you know what I mean, go to sick call, because we served. We did what not a lot of people do. You know what I mean? We raised our right hand. You know what I'm saying? We raised our right hand, and that's something to be proud of. For a long time, I didn't realize that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was young and like not really like as mature as I am now, but that's a big deal. You know what I mean? To give, even if you only gave 2 years of your life, you mean to sign up for the military, to make it through basic training, to, you know what I mean, even give it the thought to sign up to the military. You know what I mean? You deserve everything that's coming to you. We deserve everything that's coming to us. You know what I mean? Because we fought for that. We bled for that. We cried for that. You know what I'm saying? We missed birthdays, holidays, anniversaries. You know what I mean? Like, we went through all of that. So don't wait till you're out. Do it while you're in. Hit up Mark, you know what I'm saying? Hit up Mark, you know what I mean? Because look, it takes a village, man. You know what I mean? It takes a village, and you know what I mean. I consider myself a knowledgeable person. Other people consider me a knowledgeable person. That's, you know what I mean. I didn't have any knowledge on what you do. You know what I'm saying? And you were able to help me. You were able to, you know what I mean? Like, in a way, you helped me get over the hump a little bit, because even with my rating increasing, I was able to see more therapy. I was able to, I started doing Qigong, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I did not even know, like, the Army offered that kind of stuff. So hit up Mark, you know what I mean? And just, you know what I mean? Make sure that you have a plan too. You know what I mean? Like, and waiting until you're out just doesn't, I'm not just saying that for the ratings or for your disability.
Right.
Yeah, for your career, for your job, you know what I mean? Network, you know what I mean? Talk to people. Even the people that are staying in, you never know who they know. You know what I mean? I like Jay-Z, your network is what your net worth is. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And when you know the right people, and when you do the right things, and when you ask the right questions, you know what I'm saying, you can go far. So, you know what I mean? Talk to the right people, use all them programs. Can't stress this enough. Don't wait till you're out, and talk to Mark.
Well, you guys heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, thank you, Isiah. I really appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
For sure, man.
It was fun.
It was fun. No doubt.
Like I said before, I've never been on this side. You know what I'm saying? So, like, being asked the questions, and you hit me with some. This whole time I was up, because I drove from Waco. So this whole time I was here, I'm like, man, I wonder what he's gonna ask me. I was like, let me try. You know what I mean? The tongue, the teeth, and the lips. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me make sure. You know what I mean? I can't. You know what I mean? For enunciating and everything like that, but. It was fun, man. It was fun, and thank you for having me.
Pleasure having you.
Pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first. U.S. Army combat veteran Isiah Hubbard. Thank you guys for tuning in to the A-1 VA Ratings Show, and we look forward to seeing with you guys, tuning in to you guys soon. All right, bye.
Peace.